In this video, we are going to look at some of the basic features of ACL version 9. When we open the project or the data files, we worked on how to link tables, and we linked the customer and invoices. In this one, we will look at the basic analysis feature. So when you double click on sales invoice, you see the table and the columns and not much description, just the customer number, invoice number, and so on. So one of the basic things one must work on before analyzing any data is to make sure that the data imported are the same as the data exported from the client system. So once they export the data, they can give you the number of tables, the tables names, and also the records on each table, and some other statistical features, so you make sure that the data is correct. So for example, if we look at the sales invoice and we go to the Analyze menu, we can look at Count Records. And when we press OK, we see the count of the records here is 700 records. Okay, so if we have got from the client 700 records, that will be good. However, that's not enough to verify the accuracy of the data. So we will go here and we will do totals. So the totals will be based on totaling any potential numeric fields. Remit number and customer number, of course, cannot be totaled, but amount due can be. So if we select it and press OK, we see that the amount in sales invoices is 5,379,996 and 96 cents. Again, we can compare this total from the total we get from the client for the sales invoice table. Another thing we can do is the statistical analysis, and in this case we're going to pick also the amount, and we're going to check box on the standard deviation. This way we can look at the statistical analysis of that table. So for example, we find out that we have 698 positive value invoices. The total, we looked at that before, and of course the average. Now, in addition, we look here at the standard deviation. So if we analyze these numbers, for example in Excel, here is the standard deviation, here is the average. If we add 3 standard deviation, as you can see here, 3 standard deviation plus the average. So we take the 7,294 times 3 plus the average. That should give us the upper limit of the range that we want to look at, and we do the same here as average minus 3 standard deviation, and that gives us the lower end of the range. And from statistics we know that if we look at the range between average minus 3 standard deviation and average plus 3 standard deviations, this should include 99% of all transactions. So for example, if we want to look at any transaction, again 99% of the transactions will be between minus 14,000 to plus 29,591. We can go back here and we can analyze the data in terms of total, and we put the amount, but here we're going to put a condition by pressing F and build a formula. And the formula we want is amount due greater than, and we go copy 29,591 and put it here. What will that do is basically give us, we have to remove the $sign and the comma and then we press OK, and that basically will give us the totals for all the transactions that each of them is above 29,595. That will give us a sense of which transactions are higher. So we see that the total of these transactions is over almost $600,000, and if we click on that link, it will show us all these transactions, and if we look at the amounts, you will see that they're all above 29,591. What does that mean? That gives us a sense of the transactions that are above normal, and although in itself does not indicate anything wrong, it just highlights which transactions we may need our attention. We also notice that for most of them there is no remit number, so that may be also some kind of a red flag we need to look at. These statistical analysis tools also give us then a profile, for example, again on all transactions or only on these transactions, and we find the minimum and the maximum.